Welcome back, everybody, to the Putback episode 21. We've got some familiar faces back. Nolan is back. He's been a few weeks, but he's back. And we got Draven as well. Before we get into anything, of course, make sure you guys have it at stadiumrant.com. We've got all the articles, all the shows just like this every single week. So make sure you guys go check that out. We got it on YouTube, X, Facebook. It's on TikTok. Go watch the TikToks. Those are hilarious of our show in particular. Club Farming Central over here. How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Doing all right, man. I'm ready to talk some ball. I'm
Yes,
itching.
sir.
Need it.
All right. Before we get into the main topic today, I wanted to talk about Jimmy Butler. Will be playing today. He's going to be back in the starting lineup for Miami tonight. I will be smashing the under on his, no matter what it is. If it's more than like 5 points, I will be taking the under. But he's back after 7 games. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
I think it's gonna be like Jimmy Butler is gonna intentionally play a 6v4. He's gonna help the other team. I think he's gonna say, you know what, you guys. He say, hey, I'll help you. Just give me the rock. Let's run the court, and it's gonna be 6v4, and they're not gonna be able to do anything.
Have you guys seen the Adam Sandler version of Longest Yard? Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
You know when he throws the game on purpose so that he doesn't stay in jail?
Yeah.
That's kind of I could see it. I could see that happening too. But at the same time, I could see the flip side of that, and they just feed him the ball, and he puts up a 30 ball.
So people want to trade for him.
They'll be like, oh, wow, okay, well, maybe Jimmy is just as valuable as we thought he was. And
I think we're past it now. I think everyone knows Jimmy Butler's not a great presence at this point. But, yeah. All right. Let's get into it then. So we're going to be grading every team's season so far. We're halfway through the season. Every team's played at least, I think, 40 games now. So we're at the halfway point. All-Stars coming up. Just want to go in alphabetical order, or have a particular team you want to talk about? Either of you?
I mean, we could make it easy and just go conference by conference. So we could start in the East and then just go top down to the bottom.
So to start at the 1 seed in the East.
Oh.
Indeed. All right. Well, in that case, we'll start off with the team that got spanked yesterday by OKC, but they still have the best record in basketball currently, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So what you guys give as a rating?
I mean, I gave them an A+. I don't think there's any other reason behind it. You're the best team in basketball. You should have 4 All-Stars. We talked about this last week. And you just got your ass beaten by the Thunder. You beat them before. You can go toe-to-toe with them. I see no problem with it. Maybe down the stretch it'll change. If we see a playoff collapse, who knows? But for now, it's an A+ easily.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I know, Jack, you and I have talked about what this Cleveland team really expected to do with the roster that they have. They retained a lot of guys. You know, it's not like they had to go rebuild in a couple different areas. They retained most of that roster, and now they're just putting it together. They finally kind of figured out the formula for how you can have 3 to 4 all-star level players in one cohesive unit and start to really, really put together strong games. I mean, that Thunder game, that's going to happen sometimes. It's tough to go into OKC right now and play good basketball. They're one of the best teams, if not arguably the best team in basketball right now. So games like that will happen, but if you go further back, I mean, to start January, they are 5-2 through January still. So, I mean, I think they've done everything correct so far, and it's easily an A+ for Cleveland because this is where they wanted to be.
Yeah, I went A++. You know, there's absolutely nothing more that they could be doing right now. It's so funny when they beat OKC last week. It's just how funny how quickly the narrative changes from, wow, okay, you just beat OKC, you're the best team in the league. Now they lose to OKC. Okay, never mind, you're gonna lose in the first round again. So yeah, that's just NBA media for you. But I was curious, Nolan, because you weren't here last week. Do you think the Cavs will have 4 All Stars?
I think it'd be very surprising if they would give them 4. I don't know. That's really tough. But yeah, I don't think they'll get 4. I think 3 would be a little bit more comfortable. I think they've got 3 guys that if injury bugs are hitting, those guys are going to slide right in there because of the level that they're at. So I could see 3 as like a absolute just miracle worker type situation. 4, I don't think is going to happen. 3, I think is still a little bit out there, but not entirely impossible. But I think 1 to 2, sure. But
And
4's out there.
And who on the team? Who would be the one that miss out? Probably Jared Allen, you're saying? Or?
Yeah. Honest, and it sucks because Jared Allen's not like relied on to be like the main scorer.
Right.
But when you're in a system like that, there's really no reason to discredit him because he doesn't have to score 20 a night. Now he's scoring 14 to 15 a night, which is great for someone who's not a 3-ball shooter. You're primarily a layup and dunks kind of guy, and you're out there to rebound and play defense. So still putting up 15 a night, you're productive. And I mean, it's not all-star level, unfortunately, but I think he would just miss out if, again, guys are injured and we're in this new format where guys are picking their teammates. If he just happens to get thrown in there last minute because of injuries, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, far-fetched. I think there's 2 guys, your Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, obviously are the 2 ones that jump out right away. And then Evan Mobley in that 3rd spot, and then Jared Allen right behind him.
Yeah, fair. I think Evan Mobley's a lock, personally. I think him over Darius Garland, but I could definitely see Darius making it too. That's adorable. I completely, because I said last week that they definitely could have 4 All-Stars, but I don't think that anymore because I completely forgot about a couple of guys. Jalen Johnson, I did not mention at all. I think he definitely deserves to be an All-Star.
That's a good shout.
And I think the Bulls are definitely not good enough to have 2, but either Levine or Vucevic should be an All-Star. They've both been playing.
No.
Levine has been playing so good recently. Over the last month, he's averaging like 29 points per game. And Vucevic has been, quite honestly, like a top 5 offensive center in basketball.
He's not even a top 5 Nikola Itch.
That's crazy. Come on now. Don't do that.
I know. I just thought it was funny because we had this discussion last week. No, he should not be an All-Star, though. Neither should Levine. The Bulls deserve 0 All-Stars.
Listen, I get why you would say that, but they've been having like really good seasons. The Bulls have been so bad to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that game. Yeah, we'll get into the Bulls.
I don't hate myself. I try not to watch the Bulls games.
Yeah, fair. Okay, we can move on from the Cavs. That's like a consistent A+. Onto the defending champions, Boston Celtics.
A-. I know. Look, you should be doing what the Cavs are doing. Honestly, that's my take. You should be that 34-6 team. You shouldn't 20-12. You're still good. You're still fine. But like I said, little bit, you're not there. You're not there. You're not to the dominant level that we thought you were. Also, everybody hates watching you now. Nobody likes watching the Celtics games anymore because now granted, it's what the math dictates. We should shoot 53-pointers. Nobody wants to watch it. So nobody wants to watch you, and you're not even top of your conference as the defending champs and the favorites to repeat. You get an A-.
Okay. I had an A- as well for them just because sometimes it's difficult for defending champions to try to stick near the top of your conference the year after. Sometimes you can get hit with an injury bug or guys can just be in slumps and you're just not playing quite to that level. We saw that in Milwaukee. Milwaukee won the championship the year after. It was a little bit slower to start. When they added Damian Lillard, slower to start. So there are ways that it can be kind of difficult, but I'd say Boston has done at least a decent enough job for that A minus. All their wins are close, so it's almost like their system has been figured out. They're still winning, but a lot of their wins have been real close margins. And then some of their wins, the outliers, that their big wins are over bottom of the league where you should be winning by, 15 to 20 or more. So, again, Draven hit it perfectly. They're doing what they should be doing right now, which is being well above 500. They're just not doing it to the level that I'm sure they want to be at right now and that they're capable of. Hence, go look at last year. They were murdering damn near everybody on the schedule all year long. And this year, they're a little bit more figured out. So A minus for the Celtics for me as well.
Yeah, I had them in an A. Just it's championship fatigue's a real thing. We've seen it with the Nuggets. We've seen it with the Lakers of 2020. But Peyton Pritchard's been really good for them. I like. I put that into it. So the improved play of Peyton Pritchard comes into it is why they get an A. Recently though, they just lost to the Raptors the other night. They lost to the Kings a couple nights ago. Those are bad losses at home. I think the Toronto.
I think Toronto was on the road.
Yeah, Toronto was in Toronto. They almost got 20 balled. Good lord.
Well, no, because Toronto is like 118 and on the road. They are the worst team in the NBA on the road. So if they lost in TD Garden to them, that would have been historic.
That would have been insane. The odds on that would have been elite. But yeah, losing to the Kings at home is a bad look, even though we are.
Yeah, no. How do you lose to Kings?
Yeah, I'm saying. Like the Rockets said last night, just saying. But Celtics they're still probably my championship favorite. It's still that level of star with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown that work together. We've seen. I think the regular season, Drew Holiday and Derek White have taken a step back this year, especially shooting the ball because they do like to shoot a lot. Especially the last month or so, they've really seen their percentages drop. Which doesn't help. They've got Kristaps Porzingis playing relatively consistently, which is nice. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see to the playoffs. Obviously, is when it really matters, and when they go to their 8-man rotation, as well. We'll see what's really going on. They've still got one of the best coaches in the league, so it's so hard to look past them come playoff time. And they're the 2 seed, so there's nothing wrong with being the 2 seed.
I think one other thing about Boston that would kind of concern me is kind of their minutes per game difference that you're seeing with Tatum and Brown. Now, granted, that's a little expected. Those are your 2 superstars. But the closest in minutes is Drew Holiday at 30. Jaylen Brown and Tatum are both 35 minutes plus. So, I mean, fatigue can be a thing late in the season, like you said, in the championship fatigue thrown on top of that. So I'm curious. And I mean, Derek White, I guess, no, I take it back. Derek White's at 33 minutes a game, but even still, that extra 2 to 3 minutes, I know it sounds minute, but down the stretch, that can be something that really can bite you in the butt, and especially if you're trying to play catch up with someone in Cleveland. If they continue to keep that 6-game separation from you, if you're trying to play catch up, eventually you got to say, all right, we're not getting to them. Let's try and cut back on almost 40 minutes a game for 2 guys. So we'll see what happens there.
And it goes hand in hand with what you were saying. They're winning, but they're close games. So that means they have to keep those starters in down the stretch, which, again, only makes them play more minutes. But speaking of playing a lot of minutes, we got the Knicks in the 3 seed.
I think it's an A-. I mean, you lost Hartenstein, but you gained McCall, you gained Cat. People expected you to be – now, granted, I think it's a similar situation as the Celtics. You were expected to be pretty good, and I think you said just you're the 3rd seed in your conference comfortably. They've been very rough the last couple of weeks. Like they've been ping ponging between dominating and then getting killed, dominating and getting killed. We've had awful second half defense for whatever reason. Cat has been dealing with a nagging injury. I don't know if he's going to play tonight. He was TBD, but I mean, it's an A-. Cat's been playing incredibly well. You are still the third seed in the East no matter what. It's just you gotta stay healthy. You have to stay consistent, and you'll be fine. I don't see a reason why they're anything lower as a 3 seed. Just obviously, you'd wish after that offseason where you brought in McCall and Cat that you'd be a little bit higher, but that's not a real complaint given that you're number 3.
Yeah, I have them actually just above an A-. I had them at an A just because sometimes it can be difficult to welcome in someone who is shooting and scoring at the clip that Cat is. Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it said overpowered.
No.
JC, you
No.
I hate you.
No, JC
Not
is on.
overpowered. But
JC, you're a Sixers fan. We just busted your ass.
Well, hey, JC knows his team is bad, so now he can just talk.
No, he doesn't. No Sixers fan thinks his team is bad. They're all delusional.
JC does. Trust
no.
me.
I'm from PA. I'm from PA. I know these motherfuckers. I know these kids. They all think bro. They all think they're him.
Yeah. Hey, JC's being a menace. He knows what he's doing. But anyway, welcoming in someone at the level of Karl Anthony Towns into your offense when you already have a couple different guys that are trying to score at a high clip and just be productive. You know, Jalen Brunson is that team. And then you added in OG Anunoby a couple seasons ago. Then you add in Mikal Bridges. Now you add in Karl Anthony Towns. So the fact that they have figured it out, I think, has been a big-time move for them, which is why I had to add an A, because if they don't figure it out, then maybe they sit around that 500 mark, but they've got 4 to 5 guys scoring 15-plus a night, and they're just playing good basketball. They still have some losses that are kind of nagging, but sitting 2 games outside of second right now after how Cleveland and Boston have played, I think they'll take that all day long. You're sitting yourself right there in that sweet spot in the Eastern Conference where I don't think anybody below you could catch you if you keep playing productive. And you're right there to try and catch Boston just above you. So it's a good spot for them, which is why I give them an A, because I think they've really proven they've made a good transition, and the trade for Karl Anthony Towns has worked out very, very well so far.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's second in the league in rebounding, in total rebounding this season. So he's been awesome. He has more rebounds this season than he did all of last season, which is hilarious. But yeah, he's been putting up, I think, like 25 points per game as well with that. So great addition for them. He's been sensational. The defense down low has been an issue still, as you can come to expect with a cat-led interior defense. But the wing defense is always going to be there with Mikal and OG and Josh Hart, even, who has been sensational as well. Josh Hart. I gave them a B plus. They're still running the Tibbs system, which is play your starters until they can't breathe. Which we've seen have repercussions just last year in the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see. But they've been good. A bit shaky earlier in the season. They kind of come into their own recently. So they've just got to gel a little bit more. And they really need to get a deeper bench, because Mars McBride and Precious Chua have been playing real good minutes for them. But they got to get another wing that they can trust, because I think they've got Campaign that plays spot minutes. Tyler Kolek plays maybe a couple minutes a week. So yeah, they got to figure out that third, that 8-man rotation for the playoffs, I think.
And real quick, Draven, because you will want to know this, Cat is out tonight. officially. They think they're going to keep him out until at least the 20th. So a couple more days just to kind of see. He has a bone chip in his wrist, and then his thumb was kind of jacked up too. So they're being cautious. Only reason I know so much about that right away is because I have him in fantasy, and I'm getting those notifications to move him out of my lineup. So,
All right. Onto the 4 seed Milwaukee.
I mean, to me, it's a B. Just because, man, Giannis would be the MVP right now if they were the 2 seed. Honestly. What? Consistently putting up 31, 12, and like 8 a night with 5 stocks. Like, he has been incredible this year. It's honestly the record and the inconsistency in team play from the Bucks that's kept them out of this MVP race. But overall, this team is mid. This team is horrifically mid. Damian Lillard is not even a top 5 point guard anymore. He can't be that second option that the Bucks need. And I don't believe that this team is going to do anything in the playoffs. This is the kind of team that like would get like a 3 seed and then lose to a 6 seed in the first round. I don't believe in the Bucks. I think the Bucks have been incredibly underwhelming. I don't believe they've done their Greek star any benefit this year. I mean, congrats, you're a 4 seed. That's why you're a B at all, but you're nowhere near where you should be.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you at all that they've been disappointing. And real quick, let me make sure I throw the right one up here. This was early. Look where Milwaukee is on that. 6-9 out of the playoffs. This was in, I want to say November. This is in late November, right? 6-9. Now they're sitting in 4th at 22-17. With all the stuff they've been dealing with, Chris Middleton being inconsistent and not being up to the level that they want him at. Taurean Prince in your starting lineup. I don't know how that benefits you in any way.
Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham.
Yeah.
The Darvin Ham system.
Yeah,
bring it on back.
He just loves Taurean Prince, man, I guess. But it's crazy that they are now sitting where they are. And I think that's why I would also give just because of the recovery. If there was no recovery, it'd be different. But to go from 6-9 to 22-17 in the time span that you've done it in, I would say has taken them up a few more rungs on the ladder, for me at least. Just because they've figured it out in some ways. Again, are they expecting to be championship caliber every year? 100%. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo playing at triple-double a night MVP level. You have a former all-star MVP, or not MVP, all-star point guard in Damian Lillard. There are pieces there for you to continue to be at that level that Boston and Cleveland are playing at right now. And they're just not there. But the fact that they're sitting at the 4 seed after that 6-9 start in November, give them their credit. They've really found a way to stick around in the East when they could have been buried very, very quickly with how well some of these other teams are playing.
I'm actually turning around on the Bucks. I think they could make a conference finals. Now Damian Lillard, it's interesting when you bring him up, not being a top 5 point guard. He's averaging 25 points, 7 assists on 45, 39, like 80 something splits.
Mid.
That is at least all-star numbers, and we don't even mention him last episode. Which that's my fault completely. And the other thing, as I said, Giannis would be in MVP talks if they were the 2 seed, right? If they weren't the 4 seed. And the Nuggets are also the 4 seed out west. So why is Jokic so?
Because he's already won 3 of them, got robbed the one last year. That's why. When you should have won 4 MVPs in a row, you're going to get put back in the race that 5th year immediately, no matter what you do. Plus, regardless, he puts up 30, 20, and 15. Like, it's absurd as a center. It's Giannis' stats because he's just been doing it so long and he's been overshadowed by Jokic's success. He's kind of just gotten used to taking that back seat. Jokic has been in the media spotlight for so long that now they don't know where else to put it. They're not going to move it back to Giannis as soon as he starts doing well again when Jokic is doing just as well. You know? That makes no sense. That's why it's still on Jokic when it could easily just be as much as Giannis. Granted, I still think Jokic is the MVP. But if they didn't get off to such a slow start, maybe he would have gotten that shift.
I think the argument also, and they bring this up every year too, I know we're getting a little sidetracked with this, is take away Nikola Jokic from this year's Nuggets.
Worst offense
They
of all time.
look at him the other night. Without him, they are horrible without him on the floor. He is the gel that holds that team together because of his passing, because of how he is on the fast break, having that vision to where he gets guys open. He tells them where to go. He directs traffic. Without that on the floor, you got Michael Porter Jr. throwing up 20 3-pointers a game, contested, and it's all over the place. That, I think, is why they keep Jokic in it, because you take him away, that Nuggets team is different. Milwaukee, now that they have Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton and blah, 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 and company, it's a little bit – I feel like they just view it differently for some reason, that you take Giannis away for a game, maybe they can survive and scrap it through because you have Damian Lillard and company still sitting around. And they just don't treat it the same as the Nuggets would get, just because there's evidence of how bad they are without Nikola, and then there's evidence of the Bucks maybe playing a little bit better even if Giannis is not in the game. So that's kind of where it sits for me, at least.
Advanced metrics are Nikola Jokic's best friend.
Yes,
and look,
they
I support
are.
the argument. I mean, I came on here and said, without a doubt, Nikola Jokic is, I think, already a top 3 center of all time, and that he's easily the greatest offensive center to ever live. It supports my argument there. Oh my god! Who Nolan? Who?
Hey! Let's. We're not doing this again.
Who?
All right, back on track. I'll text you, man. I'll text you.
That's absurd. No.
I am very curious to know who it is. But I gave the Bucks a B as well. Again, they've been okay. They started bad. They're 16-8 in the last 24 games, so they're getting back on track. But that's what I was saying. Like, Dame and Giannis as a duo come playoff time. I know obviously Giannis was injured in the first round last year, so they didn't really get a chance. But when it comes to the playoffs, a 2-man game like that is going to be so crucial, and that's why I could definitely see them. If they get home court advantage, especially, then they could go a long way in these playoffs, 100%. If their role players aren't absolute trash, which we'll never know with their role players. But moving on again, the Orlando Magic at a 5 seed, I believe.
Yes, they are, and I give it an A. When your superstar, the player you're paying more than anyone else, has to miss 25 plus games. Also, Franz Wagner's had to deal with a number of injuries. Moritz Wagner, I'm pretty sure, is hurt as well. You've missed so much due to injury, and you're still the 5th seed? You're 4 games above 500? What is this devil magic, dude? Tristan Da Silva just kind of chooses when he wants to put up like 18, 5-5, or he'll literally put up like the worst game to ever. It looks like he was Michael Jordan. It looks putrid to watch. It's one or the other. And I mean, but regardless, they're somehow kept a 4 games above 500. It's absurd. I don't see a way you don't give this an A with what they've had to deal with and what they've overcome.
Honestly, Draven took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say too. You have all these injuries and you're still sitting at 5th. I think it shows the depth. I think some of their moves in the offseason that they made to kind of backbuild behind your Franz Wagner and your Paolo Bancheros are showing. They're getting these minutes that they probably weren't expecting, but they're getting thrown into the fire and they're playing good basketball. Going and getting KCP and adding that 3-and-D guy is helping down the stretch. And so there's just moves that have proved to be a lot more valuable than maybe the payroll would indicate, that they weren't, dumping a ton of money into big time players, but getting smaller role players to back build behind your 2 stars is where it's really built out well for them, which is why, again, you're sitting in fifth because they're playing well. They know what their role is. And now you're getting your guys back, and it could only go up from there. I mean, I think Orlando could be a very, very dangerous playoff team if it can get rolling. I don't know about a 7-game series going in their favor against a Boston or a Cleveland, but they can make it close, or they could get some upsets. I definitely think they're in that realm once they get everybody back. So I give them, I'd say, a B plus right now, just because they are still hovering near that 500 mark. There's still a few games above, but they're right there in the running. They're not out of it by any stretch. So I give them a B plus.
Yeah, I mean, I get him an A plus, honestly. Like what Jevon was saying, to still be above 500. You mentioned Paolo, you mentioned France. Jalen Suggs has been out for a while too. Like, that's their 3 best players that they have been using. They've got great minutes out of Goga Batadze, great minutes out of Cole Anthony, great minutes out of Anthony Black. You mentioned Tristan Da Silva. Jet Howard's been playing decent minutes. Like, it's by committee with this team, and they're really fun to watch too. So I gave them an A plus because nobody would have been surprised if when Paolo and France were both out and then Jalen Suggs went out, that this team just went on a crazy losing streak. No one. But
they're taking on Boston right now.
So you guys, they might win that game the way Boston's playing right now. But yeah, A plus, honestly. Very proud of the Orlando team, what they're doing right now. Next we got the Pacers at the 6th seed.
Mid. I've always stressed just the eternity of hell Pacers fans are in. You're locked in for mid. You'll never get the number 1 pick. You'll never be a number 1 seed. Or you'll never be number 1 in like favorites to win the chip. You are stuck in eternity of mid. You get a mid grade. Congrats, B minus. I'm doing that partly because I'm a hater. What reason do I have to give them an A?
Hey, where's Davinsky when we need him, man? Fucking Pacers.
Yeah, exactly. No one's gonna oppose my anti-Pacers agenda now. But great, Tyrese Halliburton, stupid, dumb cyclone. But still, Tyrese Halliburton, you're a moron. Like, what are you doing? Congrats. You dropped 30 and 10 one night, and then you'll go out for 3 points on 3 for 16 shooting. Pascal Siakam, the Beyblade incarnate, is doing okay. He's doing his thing, but like, Miles Turner hit 8 threes last night. Why'd you sell my parlay? I had the Pistons, and I was 1 leg away. Why did you? How do you give up 8 threes to Miles Turner? But still, look.
Because Jalen Duren can't get up the perimeter to save his life.
They're just mid. They're so ridiculously mid. B minus. I have no reason to give them anything higher, but they haven't earned anything lower. B minus.
Right.
Okay. I had a B minus as well.
Yeah. Pacers mid agenda.
They're treading water in a conference that is very middle heavy. Like, if you look at seeds 4 through 9, they're all within like 2 games of each other or less. Excuse me. It's a very middle heavy conference, so to sit there and tread water, I don't know, man. B minus until you can prove that you can beat, the Magic and the Bucks consistently or something like that, where the Hawks won't sneak up on you at some point. That it's a very middle ground Pacers team right now. Now, if they figure it out in some way, and we saw their playoff run, what was that, last year, the year before, or if they figure it out, it's there. The weapons are there, but they just got to actually do it. And sometimes that's easier said than done, especially with the Pacers. They are doing it, and then they're not. They're just back and forth, and they can't really decide where they're at. So, yeah, B-.
I mean, I do want to say quickly, because you talked about them beating the Hawks. I don't know if they could beat the Hawks to a pulp. All right. I don't think they could.
Yo,
I think-
mute your fucking mic. We're not doing this. Shut up. The Pacers. I gave them a C actually. I was more harsh than me too. Yeah, because Tyrese Halliburton, he's actually been playing alright recently, but had a dreadful start to the season. There was no way of getting him back into All-Star talks after that. So this is a team went to the conference finals last year.
Team of all time.
For injury, like I will say, beating the Bucks without, beating the Knicks without half their team. But as a team that went to the conference finals, you don't want to sit at the 6th seed, which is very possible that they're going to stay there. So obviously, it has a lot to do with Halliburton's start. Bennett, Mathurin, and Pascal have been really pretty, have been playing pretty good. Miles Turner's Miles Turner. He's on and off. Andrew Nembhard's another name who's been disappointing for me, especially after his playoff run last year. I wanted to see that next step from him, but he's kind of taken a step back into his regular season form from last year. Especially early in the season, he was like shooting under 40% from the field or something for a while. But yeah, they're a mid team, like you said, Brad. There's so much to say about the Pacers. I don't watch their games because Tyrese Halliburton's not good yet.
Because you're a person of matter, Jack. You have friends. People care about you.
It's true. It's so true.
Pacers fans are just stuck in eternity of mid.
It's because Reggie Miller never got into the promised land. They're still stuck on Reggie Miller and Malice in the Palace, where their players get in fights instead of winning games.
Ron Artest before he became Meta World Peace.
Yeah.
A league name change, by the way. That's not talked about enough. That's top one.
Meta World Peace versus Nest Freedom. Who takes it?
Yeah. We might need to do a top 10 just crazy NBA names. World Be Free.
We'll do a draft. We'll do a draft.
Yep, we'll do that.
That lever.
I've got an idea for next week. Type shit. Next we have Atlanta. Now we're not going to mention what the team name is. We're just going to talk about Atlanta drafting.
Oh God, I enjoyed my time back. I think I've made one of those jokes every single episode that I've been back over break. So I'm very proud of myself for being able to sneak one in. But look, I like Trae Young. No, I don't. I'm lying. But Trae Young has been solid, okay? He's like 20 and 15, like pretty like consistently. Like it's not insane to assume he will go for 20 and 15 nowadays. Like he's been very solid for the Hawks. Jalen Johnson, like we've talked about, he's been incredibly solid. DeAndre Hunter stepped up. I mean, Zachary Risachet has been pretty much what people expected, to be fair. There were very low expectations for him as a number one pick, and he's been kind of same thing with Clint Capella. Just they're there, but they're okay. I think they could beat any team between the Bucks and lower. I don't know. I don't confidently think they could beat the Knicks, Celtics, or Cavs, but any team from the Bucks or lower, I would say, yeah, 50-50. I could see them beating them. They're the kind of team that if you just get unlucky one night, you're not playing well, congrats, you just lost. And that's just because they decided to play well. I mean, the difference from the Pacers to the Hawks is not one of much substance. And I didn't do it. I could have. I didn't.
Yeah,
anyway, I mean, the Pacers are only ahead right now because they've actually just played more games. They're Pacers 23-19, Hawks 21-19. So we'll see, but the Hawks are better than the Pacers in my opinion.
I honestly give them a. Well, Draven, what did you give them? I didn't hear. I don't think I heard your grade.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even give them a grade. I give them a B plus. I was just giving my thoughts. B plus.
Oh, good. I'm actually. I'm going to be harsh here. I'm going to go C. Just because I don't know. I'm not impressed by this team until I see more from them. And I know they're sitting right there, and I just harped on how they're close, but I don't see anything that just jumps off the page for me when you sit around that 500 mark every year. They've done it every year. Like Trae Young is one of the best 500 basketball leaders in the game. So I'm not impressed. I give it a C because once again, you're sitting around the 500 mark like you do every year. Nothing's changed. You got a number one pick, and that's it. That's all that's changed for you.
They should have taken Sar. They should have taken Sar. I don't know why they didn't take Sar. Sar is mid.
He might be in Atlanta. They might trade him. Who knows?
What?
Sucks.
Jimmy Butler. Send Jimmy Butler to Atlanta for Zachary Ricochet. I've seen enough.
I don't hate
know
that.
about that.
Hey, turn Ricochet from a Hawk to a Heat.
Atlanta. I gave them a B minus. Again, record wise, they're still hovering around 500 as they always do. But Jalen Johnson's been sensationally good this year, 20-10-5. There's not many players that average 20-10-5 that aren't all stars. There's actually none, all right, except Jalen Johnson at this point. So he's been great. DeAndre Hunter's averaging 20 off the bench. I think he's like leading the league in points per game off the bench, which is I would have guessed that at the start of the year. So he's been good for them. Onyeka Okongwu has been great in his limited minutes on the bench. He had like a 2020 game the other night, I think. So love that from him.
Slept on 2016 member of the Chino Hills team, by the way. People forget.
I was gonna say, bro, that highlight reel from Chino Hills of him running cherry pick fast breaks is.
It's not even his fault. It's not even
I know. I'm not saying it's great. It's fun highlights because all he is dunking and then he blocks somebody on the other end. That's all it is. All he had to do. Play receiver.
Yeah, no. But yeah, Onyeka going trade Clint Capella, please. Let Onyeka start. But yeah, Dawson Daniels has obviously been a revelation this season out of nowhere, just leading the league in steals. He was a good defender in New Orleans, but like not like this. He was playing like 16 minutes a game, to be fair. So yeah, B minus, decent team. Yeah. I think the Heat are the 8 seed still.
Well, Davinsky.
Yeah.
Not here to defend your precious D+.
Yeah, and he called me old. The fuck?
Dude, oh my god.
35.
That was crazy.
Damn!
Dude called me 35. He said, you're at least 35.
Are you not 35?
No.
Oh.
26, dude.
Damn.
You can't even buy a beer yet. Don't start with me.
Yes, at the University of Iowa, I've never done anything such as that. That would be
evil. No, and I didn't either. Side conversation.
That would be awful. Anyway, the Heat, unironically, D+. You suck. You're not a good basketball team. Tyler Hero. The most meaningful conversation that we have had about the Heat since I've come back was a debate about whether or not Tyler Hero was black. They are not a relevant basketball organization. Bam Adebayo is mid. Asia Wilson took all of his basketball talent. That's why she's a 3-time MVP. She took it all from him. Jimmy Butler, he wants to leave. Tyler Hero, congrats. You have a song from Jack Harlow. What have you done since? I mean, Kyle Lowry. Is Kyle Lowry even there anymore? I don't know. I don't watch your games. That's my bad. Kevin Love, you just post Instagram memes like a 40-year-old. What are we doing? This team is not a real team. This team will get slaughtered by, I think they lose to the Hawks. I think the only team I could confidently say, yes, they would probably beat them is the Nets or the Wizards. And I don't think that's a stretch. I think any other team in the East could beat them. And I'd almost say most of them are favorites.
I don't think Charlotte beats Miami, but That's just me.
Charlotte, you're telling me LaMelo can't just who's guarding LaMelo?
Bro, who is guarding anyone on Charlotte, on Miami from
Josh
Charlotte?
Okogie.
That's true. They did just get traded there. Yeah, Josh Okogie on Tyler
Miles,
Hero, and that's
27
that's like-
days, 27 nights. Miles Bridges, enforcer.
yeah, okay.
Mark
not out.
Williams. I've seen enough.
Like I like Charlotte. Okay, we'll get into Charlotte, but Miami is So what'd you give them? D plus.
I gave Charlotte. You mean Miami? I gave them a D plus.
Yeah.
D plus.
Okay.
I give them a D plus as well. Very disappointing. They expected to be, contending. It's just not there. The culture is not there. The Heat culture has a few puncture wounds, and it's deflating. It really is. And I will say, Tyler Hero is not doing nothing. I mean, he's scoring 25, 5, and 5. Like, that's pretty damn good for a team.
If only it mattered.
Are you scoring 25, 5, and 5 a night?
You don't know what goes on in the Iowa intramural leagues. You don't know.
You ain't putting up 25 a night.
You don't know how good I am. You have no idea. You have no idea how good Prime Robin Murdy was. You have no idea.
You damn right, because there ain't no highlights.
Exactly.
Okay, where are the highlights of 16-year-old LeBron busting MJ's ass? I want to see those highlights.
Yeah, that was an okay.
Anyway, my Miami D plus, disappointing.
I had them a D plus as well, but Tyler Hero has been great. Khalil Ware has been really good recently, so start him, please. Eric Spoelstra. Put Bam at the 4 if you have to. I don't care. And trade Jimmy Butler now, so we have something to talk about. All right, 9 seed Pistons.
A minus, honestly. I mean, this is a team that had the second longest losing streak in the NBA history last year, or something like that. Like they got up really high, or what? One? They were number 1, longest.
Yeah.
I thought they were tied for it or something. Yeah, longest losing streak in NBA history last year. You didn't even get that high of a pick, like comparably to what you should have. Like they were outside the top 3. I forget who they got, but still. Cade Cunningham has emerged into the All-Star we all hoped he would be out of OK State. Jaden Ivey is showing flashes of what he was at Purdue. Tobias Harris is... What?
Jaden Ivey snapped his leg.
Yeah.
Well, he was. But listen.
Past tense.
But, like, guys just... Tobias Harris has kind of just been there. He's Tobias Harris. He'll give you 16, 4 and 4 on incredibly inefficient shooting, and it works for some reason. Isaiah Stewart's still there, even though he tried to kill my glorious LeBon. So I don't know why he's still in the league. But like, this is a team. I'm giving them 20 and 21 because honestly, they've gotten a lot. 21 and 20. My bad. Winning record. This is a winning team, and considering they started the year very rough. And like you said, they did just lose Jaden Ivey. I think this team will kind of tread water. A 500 team after being one of the worst teams in NBA history is an incredible improvement. I don't see anything lower than an A minus.
Facts.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I had him at an A minus as well, just because it's very similar to the Milwaukee Bucks, but over a longer improvement period. You went all off season, trying to decide where you're going to go, and sitting at around that 500 mark, big time improvement. Malik Beasley has been very surprising for you too. He's scoring 15, 16 a night. So adding in those pieces has definitely worked out for them. Tim Hardaway Jr. going there, kind of good, only 11 points a night, but he's still playing almost 30 minutes a night. So it's there. There are pieces there. Are they winning a championship in the next 5 years? Probably not. But are they playing way better, like you said, Draven? Absolutely. 100%. A minus.
And, people called me crazy when we did our predictions for the standings at the start of the season when I said the Pistons would be the 9 seed.
I did.
Oh, look at them now. Look at my boys
Guilty.
now. Cade
Guilty.
Cunningham is an
Draven's
all-star.
guilty as hell too. Not Draven. Davinsky's guilty as
I
hell
was gonna
too.
say I don't know if I was there. I think I was
You were
at
not.
college by then.
Me and
Unfortunately,
Davinsky both about fell back in our chair when Jack said that they were going to sit at the 9th seed.
I think Davinsky had them as the 15th seed, which but yeah, Cade's been awesome. Asad Thompson, since he's come back from injury, has been great. Obviously, defensively, not offensively as such, but he's a good player for them. Ron Holland was who they drafted this year, by the way. Who's another energy guy like him in Asad Thompson. Comes off the bench and plays defense. Still needs to get some offense polished up, but yeah, they got a nice team there, man. Like you said, Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. just adding those guys that'll pull threes. Veteran guys in the locker room, like Tobias Harris as well. You can tell that's really helped with Cade and Jalen Duren, who's grown a lot over the last month or so as far as how he's playing. He's being much more efficient. He's playing better defense as of late. And he could finally start closing out games over Isaiah Stewart, which no one wants to see Isaiah Stewart play. Let's be honest. He tried to, like you said, he tried to kill LeBron, so automatically we don't rock with you, gang.
you're not welcome on the show, Isaiah. Stop texting us. You're not coming on. All right, buddy. It's not happening.
So yeah, they get an A from me. They've had a really good year, and they proved me right. So thank you, Kate. Next we have Chicago.
The Chicago Bulls. First off, before I dive into the Bulls, Mike Conley is he has 10 points already. There's 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Why are we letting him go for a 40 ball on us? New York, please get your shit together. Why is Mike Conley doing this? He's 4 for 4 from the field. He hasn't missed.
He's in.
No, he's not. But the Bulls, great. Mid. They're where they're supposed to be. If you expected anything different, you were tripping. I'm glad Lonzo's back. I think they might be a bit better, but everyone is dealing with injuries right now. Josh Giddey's dealing with an injury. Ayo Dosunmu's dealing with an injury. Kobe White is dealing with an injury. And I mean, the team is still relatively young. That core of White, Dosunmu, Patrick Williams will be there. They'll exist. But first off, what you're paying Nikola Vucevic is not worth it. What you're paying Zach LaVine to be on this mid team and put up 25 just because nobody else is scoring the ball isn't worth it. I can't talk trash about Lonzo. I'm just happy he's playing again, man. I grew up with that, man. I can't say a damn word about it, man. Steph Curry with a 40-inch vertical. Shout out Mike Rosemba. They're mid. Sorry, Nick Isles, my buddy. He's actually at the Bulls game right now. Sorry, Nick. They're mid. I give him a C+, B-. I didn't expect better. You shouldn't have expected better, but they're 5 games under. I didn't expect worse. I'm glad they're there with all the injuries, so C+.
I'm in the same boat. C+, kind of that mid-level grade here for them. Again, Lonzo's back. I think the only good thing to happen to the Bulls is that's about it. Because other than that, they're still treading water or trying to tread water.
I think the Hornets get to claim that. I think the Hornets get to claim that song, though.
I feel like he played for them.
So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. They're going to be sitting in a weird spot for a couple of years. Zach LaVine could be gone by the deadline. We'll see if that actually happens or not because of how he's playing. So there's a lot that could happen and flip very, very quickly for them in a bad way, and they could be back to kind of in that rebuilding stage. I think they're still there. They're still trying to figure out what kind of team they're going to be, but it's just going to depend who's around. Maybe by end of season versus right now. Because right now, treading water.
Yeah,
and Jack, I think we should save the West. Draven brought this up. We should save the West for next week.
Yeah.
Because if we can go an hour on the Eastern Conference, we could probably go 2 hours on the West. So
Fair. Well, they don't. This is conference. Okay. Bulls get a D minus.
Damn.
Yeah, it's the same thing as every year with them. Why would you not trade Vucevic when he's having a career year 2 months into the season? Now he's starting to fall back to earth. Now his trade value's going down. If they don't trade Zach LaVine this season with the way he's been playing recently, it's like, what are you trying to do? You're just trying to be mid at this point because your team is not good enough to be good.
Damn.
But they're also not bad enough to be, a top 5 pick.
They have Pacer syndrome.
Yeah, they do, but like worse. Like it's been this way since DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball were both healthy on the team. But obviously, yeah, they're incompetent front office. They have been for years. So D minus, because they're just an embarrassment to GMs everywhere. I like the team though. Shout out Kobe White. Patrick Williams, you suck. You have been awful.
Florida State.
Okay.
I think. Did you go to
Don't
FSU?
ask.
Was that
What?
right? Where did you go to FSU?
who?
Do not ask me about college.
Where do you go? Where do you go? Florida State.
Okay.
Let's go.
4th overall pick, by the way. Disgusting.
All right.
We got your favorite team up next, Drevin.
F. I already know who's coming. It's F. F. They suck. They suck. You had one bright spot. He broke his leg. Actually, I do love Jared McCain, and unfortunately, he's got knee surgery. He just had knee surgery, so he's done for the year. Paul George is so unbelievably washed. It's not even funny. Tyrese Maxey's cool. He's a smiley guy. I can't really dislike him. And man, oh man, don't even say his name. But guess who's not playing? Guess who's not playing tonight because he needs to rest? Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Guess who didn't play against the Knicks? He needs to rest. Ooh. He was scared of Precious Achua. Precious Achua is going to make him as a bitch. But still. F. Unironically, F. You were supposed to be a good team. You are abysmal. Even when your team was fully healthy at the start of the year. Abysmal. You were worse then than you are now. Notice how that's funny, how when Joel Embiid doesn't play, they're better. Isn't that funny? That's such a funny, interesting coincidence. Who would have figured that? Oh, right, me, because I've said it for like 3 years. Anyway.
I live for this.
F. F.
I gave him an F as well.
Yes! Yes, Nolan!
Hey, there's nothing else to say. They're very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. That's all. There's nothing else to say. Not at the level they want to be at. Falling on their face hard, man. That's it.
Yeah, they go 3 Fs. That's to F. Yeah, I love Tyrese Maxey. I love Paul George, even though he's been bad. It hurts to say because I do like Paul George.
I didn't even know we could do that.
That's right. We're moving on. Just that's crazy. 12 seed is Brooklyn, I think.
The Brooklyn Nuz? I don't know if either of you guys follow the Brooklyn Nets on TikTok.
Yes.
Dude.
The elite TikTok account.
Elite TikTok account. I hope it doesn't go because solely the Brooklyn Nets are the funniest TikTok account ever. They're by far the best TikTok account of any NBA team.
Right, even their Instagram, they just got elite social media presence.
Oh no, it's the Brooklyn Nuz beat the Miami Huz. Bro, what am I watching? It's the funniest stuff ever. Now, granted, they lost by 60 the other night, so they got outscored 38-3. I think was the run. I I mean, did anybody see that clip of Nick Claxton try to go for like 2 behind the head dunks, missed them both, and then missed the putback layup? Like, that's pretty much sums up this team. No Ben Simmons because he's hurt. Mr. Aura himself, Cam Thomas, is hurt. Even though he would do anything to not pass the ball. That's my favorite gimmick with him. He will literally just take a fadeaway spin around 3 from the corner rather than pass the ball to anyone else. It's the best thing ever to watch.
Valid.
I don't know, bro. They're hurt. They weren't supposed to be good. They were supposed to be in Cooper flag contention regardless. Like D, I guess, because they're worse slightly than you'd hope. But like I didn't have high expectations for the Brooklyn Nuz, so that's on you if you did.
I'll go ahead and save you the time and stress of listening to me talk about these two teams. The Nets and the Raptors both get a D for me, just because.
Sure.
I mean, did we expect them to go any higher than that? No. I will say Brooklyn getting to 14 wins this early on was maybe a little surprising, just because me and Jack, I don't know if you remember, I said I saw them sitting around 15 to 20 wins by the end of the year. They're at 14 now. So that's the only reason I don't give them an F. But other than that, the pieces you have there are not working. The pieces that you have in Toronto are not working. And you guys are just aiming for draft picks at this point. And not that that's a bad thing. If you're in a rebuild mode and you have pieces that are going to be good, but you just need good draft picks, fine. If that's where Brooklyn and Toronto want to sit, great. But they both get a D for me. And it's as simple as that. They're in the same realm for me. They're going for draft picks, and that's it.
Okay. I mean, I gave the Nets a B+.
What?
Listen, because I'm not basing this off of how many wins they have. I'm basing this on what they were expected to do, what they want to do. Coming into the season, they were going to be bad. We all knew they were going to be bad. They don't get an A because they're a little bit too good. You know, if you're tanking, which they are, you should not have 14
You're telling me
wins.
with a straight face right now that the team that just lost by 60 is a little bit too good?
They have too many wins, is what I'm saying. They were too good early on. They took too long to trade Dorian Finney-Smith. They need to trade Cam Johnson. I don't know. They got to have a couple of pieces they could trade to. Trade Cam Johnson to the Kings for Jay Crowder, please. But yeah, they get a B+ because they've been bad, but they were trying to be bad, and they're getting their young players a lot of minutes. And Jordi Fernandez is a great coach, but he doesn't have a great team. So yeah, I get them a B+. Do your Raptors, unless you got something to say.
I mean, no, not about the Nets. I was going to go ahead with the Raptors, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Go first.
I gave them an A-. Same sort of reasoning. They've been bad, but they've been really fun to watch. They've been in a lot of close games. They just beat the damn Celtics. RJ Barrett's looked like an all-star quality player a lot of the season. Scotty Barnes has been good when he's been playing. And again, they're getting minutes out of guys like Davion Mitchell when Emmanuel Quickly's been injured. Can't wait to see him get back on his $33 million contract, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why they're paying him that. That's crazy.
Jakob Poeltl is a prime trade candidate. They could probably get at least one first-round pick out of him right now, which is dope because that probably wouldn't have been the case at the start of last season. I don't think you guys have any more picks to give up. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
You have vibes.
Okay, that's not like a worthy trade piece.
They're Canadians. We will just ask them nicely, and they'll be like, all right. We get it. You guys don't have those picks right now. It's okay.
Yeah, Ochai Agbaji's having a career year.
Close personal friend.
Indeed. Shooting career high from the field and free and points per game as well. So yeah, I get them an A- because they're doing what they were meant to do. Just got to trade Jakob Poeltl and then that'll be good.
Now, I'm delusional. I had faith in the Raptors. They were my Pistons. I thought they were going to be like a 9 seed. I thought this team was solid. Because listen, you're telling me like a fully healthy lineup of Quickly if he was healthy, Grady Dick, if he turned into half the scorer he was at Kansas, then RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, that team couldn't have competed. I thought that, especially if they took the leaps like they could have, I thought this was a team that could have been a lot better than they are currently. I think they're just redonkulously mid. I think they have so many injuries they need to deal with that just have kind of hampered them. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, I thought this team was going to be a lot better than it actually was. I think they still have a lot of potential. I still think this is not a team you want to play. Granted, they're 1-18 outside of Canada, so maybe they're a little bit too nice about helping out opposing teams. But, like, I thought this team was going to be a lot better. I'm very disappointed in them. I'm giving them just a fat D. Yeah, I'm disappointed. D for disappointment. Now, I'll move it to Charlotte. Swerve, please give up. Do something different. My God. Brandon Miller's been dealing with injuries. That was another guy I was super, super, super high on. He's been dealing with injuries. I don't know what his deal is. I hope he gets better because what the fuck am I watching? But you just traded Nick Richards, who is bad at basketball, for Josh Okogie, who is still living off that highlight play against prime James Harden, if you know what I'm talking about. Like that one where he blocked him twice. That was 2018 Harden, only guy who stopped him. So he's still thriving off of that. But I don't know, Miles Plumlee, when he wants to pull out the most ridiculous center bag of all time once a year, will do something. LaMelo Ball, when he wants to take a fadeaway 1-footed three, will do something. 27 nights.
Plumlee.
What?
Plumlee ain't even in Charlotte anymore, brother.
One of the Plumlees is definitely there. No.
Mason Plumlee's in Phoenix. Miles Plumlee's been out of the league for 7 years.
No, one of them is there.
No.
Tweaking?
You're tweaking.
On that note,
you're seeing ghosts, my friend. I don't know.
Call me Sam Darnold. Oh my God. Also,
Mason Plumlee was elite in Charlotte, though.
Where is he? Dude. Also, just shout out Mark Williams. Mark Williams is cool. He's pretty good at that whole basketball thing. He's underrated. But I expected decency out of this team. Sorry, I only think about Miles Plumlee highlights. That's all I think about in life. Listen, at the University of Iowa, if you're doing anything other than thinking about Miles Plumlee highlights, you're outside of the loop. So, it's kind of just what you have to do. But listen, this team is solid. This team is a lot worse than I hoped they would be. I thought they would be a lot better because I just had faith in LaMelo's aura carrying them, and it just has not been enough. Brandon Miller hasn't taken a jump like I've wanted him to. D for disappointment. Again, don't connect that my first name starts with D. That has no correlation to D for disappointment.
Okay. By the way, I gotta assume you're talking about Mason Plumlee highlights, not Miles Plumlee, right?
I'm talking about all the Plumlees, man. I just love the Plumlee family.
Why?
Okay. Yeah, it is.
Why?
They're the second best NBA family of all time. Outside of my glorious king and the sperm, it's the Plumlees.
We're putting the Plumlees over the Currys.
Yep.
All right.
I'll save you the time and here Hornets and Wizards both get Fs. I mean, it's just simply because of how their season's going.
I'll give the Wizards an F too. Save.
I mean, the Wizards and Hornets are battling for that number 1 pick, but it looks like the Wizards are going to hold on to that number 1 pick pretty strongly, and so F's all around for Hornets and Wizards. Injuries, bad basketball, you name it, it's all there. F's around all across the table for both of them.
I gave the Hornets a D because they were trying to be competitive, and they're not. LaMelo's nice though. Brandon Miller was playing so good, and then he got injured, and now he's been inconsistent, so that sucks. Miles Bridges is still playing basketball, which is something. Even though I honestly like watching Miles Bridges play as a player, but he's just unfortunately like a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's just a bad dude.
Yeah.
I think the only thing about the Hornets I like is the highlight reel of the Hornets announcer getting absolutely hyped after every alley-oop play or anything LaMelo Ball does good. That's the only thing I enjoy about that team.
Tijan Salon also fucking sucks.
Trash. I called that.
We called this the instant they drafted him. None of us knew who he was before the draft. He got drafted, and I legitimately went, "Who? Who?" I sounded like a damn owl. Who is Tijan Salon? Like, why are we drafting him 6th overall? Like, over Donovan Clingan? You're telling me you got a duo of Mark Williams and Donovan Clingan, and you took Tijan Salon?
Tijan Salon. Fine.
To be fair, it doesn't matter. They have my glorious king, Taj Gibson, there, so it doesn't even matter because Taj Gibson's playing meaningful minutes for them for some fucking reason. But, like...
Given, bro, Tijan Salon moves like Danilo Gallinari and plays like Kevin Knox.
He plays like Andrea Bargnani.
No, don't disrespect Andrea Bargnani like that.
No first overall pick, by the way. No, 2006 first overall pick, Andrea Bargnani.
Yeah. The Wizards, though, I gave them an A- because, again, they're a bad team, but they're supposed to be bad. And they're playing their rookies a lot of minutes, which is what you're supposed to do. So I have no problem with what they're doing. They're doing what they need to do. Alex Sarr has been kind of trash offensively, keeping a buck, but defensively he's actually really good. Which is not good for Rookie of the Year voting, because who cares about defense if you're a rookie, right? But he's going to be a solid player in the future. And Bob Carrington's been cool. He's got some highlights. Keyshawn George, he's played a lot of minutes. He looks average. So, trade Malcolm Brogdon, trade Valanciunas, trade Kyle Kuzma. Do whatever you want with Jordan Poole. He's been hooping this season. Shout out Jordan Poole. But that's about it.
I mean, Bilal Coulibaly's low-key tough. I fuck with Bilal Coulibaly. If you don't fuck with Bilal Coulibaly, you don't fuck with me, honestly. He's just a vibe.
Oh, Corey Kispert. Trade Corey Kispert now. He has been hooping. Oh, yeah. Trade him to somebody, please. With the Washington Jaguars.
Bulldog? Like, I don't know what he's been doing, dude. He got drafted and immediately just went quiet. Granted, though, Washington is where careers go to die, unless you're like Paul Pierce for some reason, and you just hit a bunch of game winners. Like, that was weird for some reason. And then LeBron had like the single greatest redemption play like of all time, where he traveled, missed a layup, and then said, "All right, fuck this," and then just locked in for one shot. But like, what even is Washington? That's not even a real place. No, if it was real, why would there be two of them?
You hear yourself, bro? You're saying, why is Washington, D.C. a place where the United States government is housed?
Why is it also called Washington if we have a state called Washington? I don't see a need for it. Am I right, Mr. New Zealand?
Jack, just end the stream. Just end it.
Oh, shit, whatever.
Oh, he phased out. He froze.
But I don't know what just happened in the last like 30 seconds, but I don't think I want to know.
Just end the stream.
I'm gonna watch this back. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week with the conference. Same time next Friday. Go check out StadiumRant.com for more on every sport in the world. Thank you.
Why does campaign have 13 points?